Is there a way to minimize your exposure to and participation in negative gossip? Is that at all something worth striving for? Stay tuned to find out. Hey everyone, and welcome back, or welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Maika, a psychologist, and this channel is dedicated to supporting you and guiding yourself so you can live a fulfilled life. Whether it's at work, a family member, or a friend, at some point in your life, you probably will run into people who enjoy bad-mouthing others to some degree. And if this is a habit you've decided to let go of, these types of situations can be challenging. What do you say? How do you react? Even if you don't chime in, not saying anything or perhaps even nodding can encourage the other person to go on, and then you can just feel this ache in your heart and you feel like you're betraying yourself and the other person that is being trashed. So what can we do? Before I get into that, I'd like to build up towards that a bit and first differentiate between negative, positive, and neutral gossip, and answer the question if it's at all worthwhile to try to avoid negative gossip. Different ways of talking about someone who isn't present. When discussing this topic, I think it's important to distinguish between positive, neutral, and negative gossip. This video isn't about situations in which someone is genuinely interested in a common friend and then asks you about that person because they know you've been in contact. It's not about situations in which two or more people talk about someone who isn't present in an appreciative, kind, and caring way. It's not about when someone confides in you because of something critical they've experienced with someone else, and in order to explain what happened, they need to also talk about the role the other person played in the situation. What this video is about is when someone, for no constructive reason, gets harsh, critical, or judgmental about someone else, when they make nasty comments or insult someone. Already Socrates said that before we talk, we should ask ourselves, is this true? Is it positive? And is it useful? So this video is about situations in which someone starts talking about someone else in a way that is untrue, negative, or not useful. And I mean constructively useful. If they have some purpose like their own need to be critical or the taste of criticizing someone else or to feel better about themselves, that's not a constructive use of gossip. The benefits of avoiding destructive gossip. First of all, yes, there is a lot of merit in avoiding destructive gossip. For starters, it's not fair to the person that's being gossiped about. When we become absorbed in someone else's faults, it makes them seem worse than they are. We forget that they also have strengths and positive intentions and characteristics. We forget that they're struggling like the rest of us, and that they probably also have some kind of hurt in their past from which they're trying to heal. And that they probably also have their inner logic for the things they do. And maybe they're even motivated from good intentions, just not that good at bringing those intentions into reality. So talking about them in a way that is overly harsh and critical distorts the picture that we have of them in our own mind and also in everybody else who is participating in the gossip. And that will most likely also change the way everyone who's gossiping will interact with that person in the future. So gossip contributes to solidifying and strengthening emotions like anger, jealousy, and dislike. Another way gossip is hurtful is that it hurts the relationship to the person you're gossiping with. If you are gossiping with someone, you're sending the signal that you're generally open to gossip. And that person will get the impression that when they're not around, it's likely that you would also gossip about them. So not gossiping makes you more trustworthy as a friend, as a coworker, or as whatever you are to that person. And another thing that happens when we gossip, which we may not even be aware of, is that it changes the way we think about ourselves. When we have this lens of being harsh, critical, and judgmental, it's like certain settings in our mind are activated. And when we shift our focus away from that person and then onto us, those settings are still activated. And we will also look at ourselves in a critical, harsh, unkind, judgmental way. And we will be used to looking at people very scrutinizingly and also do that with ourselves. So if you want to avoid all of these things, it's really helpful not to gossip, not to participate in this destructive gossip. And assuming that you have stopped initiating this kind of gossip, the question now remains what we can do when someone else is initiating gossip. How can we react in a way that is kind, realistic, and constructive, avoiding and reacting to destructive gossip? Let me start by saying it's not the easiest thing to do. It's a lot easier to just be passive, to just go along with the situation, perhaps by agreeing, maybe even just slightly by nodding or smiling. It is harder to actually do something to influence the situation and make sure that the gossip stops. But with everything we know that we can gain from not participating in and not allowing gossip to happen in conversations that we are a part of, we have enough reason to be motivated to do the harder thing. So here are some suggestions what you can do to avoid and react to destructive gossip in relationships. I will start with the softer ones and get to the most drastic ones in the end. While listening to this, try to see which ones seem most realistic to you and the situations that you encounter frequently. Some of these suggestions will work with some people in some situations, but not with other people in other situations. So just see which ones might be helpful to you right now. Number 1, become more sensitive towards destructive gossip. If you want to weed destructive gossip out of your life, start by becoming more sensitive of it. Observe how you feel while it's happening and afterwards, and become more sensitive to when it starts. Become more sensitive also towards your own tendency to be judgmental, critical, and overly negative. Sometimes we can be very sensitive towards someone else's negativity, but overlook our own. And by the way, it's also a form of negativity to be hung up on the negativity of someone else. Number 2, a gentle shift of topics. Say something to end that topic without agreeing, and then suggest a new topic. The beauty in this strategy is that it's very gentle and the other person may not even notice that you're doing it. For example, let's say someone says to you, "Did you hear how Martin really messed up his presentation last week?" And then you could respond by saying, "Yeah, I heard that there were intense discussions, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. By the way, I was thinking of starting to exercise with this new app that reminds you to exercise a couple times a day for 7 minutes. Have you ever tried something similar?" Number 3, question the topic. This technique is more direct, but not so direct that you would directly address your issue with the gossip. It's when you question the importance of that topic. Like, I wonder why this is important right now, or why is this important to you? How come you're always talking so much about Martin? This way you give the other person a chance to continue talking about it. But now it has become something that is relevant to their own life, and it can be an opportunity for self-reflection and personal growth. Number 4, defend the person who's being criticized. Sometimes you may want to say something to defend the person that's being gossiped about. This helps the other person shift their perspective, perhaps. And it shows that you don't want to talk about this person in such a critical way. Some examples of how you can phrase this are, I don't think this reflects the situation accurately. I don't think this is fair to that person. We don't really know the whole story. Or what do you think the situation looks like from their perspective? Number 5, direct suggestion to change the topic. I like this one. It's simple, it can be very short, and it also lets the other person know that you don't like bad-mouthing others, so it's very likely they won't try it again in front of you in the future. Here are some examples how you can phrase this. Our conversation has taken quite the turn. Let's steer into some different waters. Let's talk about something else. Can we talk about something else? Let's not get into this. I don't think this is any of our business. Number 6, set boundaries with iMessages. This is a step further to directly inform the other person that you don't want to talk about this. It's similar to the previous strategy, just even more direct. Examples are, to be honest, I don't want to talk about this. Or, I'm not interested in discussing this. I don't think it's good to be this harsh and critical of other people. And if you're talking with someone who you used to gossip with a lot in a destructive way, and now you've decided to change, let them know. Best in an unrelated situation, to just approach them and say, I've been thinking about my tendency to gossip, and I've decided to stop because it's just so harmful. Number 7, leave and avoid. This is the most drastic strategy, and you cannot always do that. There are some situations or conversations with some people that you can't just leave, but sometimes it may be just the right thing to do, maybe the only thing to do. Leaving, for example, if you enter the break room and you already, while entering, notice that there is a group gossiping destructively about someone, you could just get your snack and then leave the room again for the rest of your break instead of joining them. Or if there's someone in your life that has a hard time respecting your boundary of not wanting to gossip and always tries to gossip with you over and over, you could try to avoid that person as much as possible. You can also leave situations in which someone gossips in the middle of a conversation. Try to be delicate, but what you can do is just look at your phone or watch and say, oh my goodness, so late already. I really need to be getting back to work. See ya. These were 7 keys to handling situations in which someone starts gossiping destructively in a conversation. If you have anything to add to this, if you have made experiences or have strategies that help you, please let us all know about that in the comment section. I am genuinely interested, and I think we would all benefit from you sharing that. Give this video a like if you now feel more equipped to handling these types of situations. Subscribe for more content like this to support you in your self-leadership. Till next time, take care and remember to be true to yourself and intervene when a conversation has taken a destructive turn.